Europeans have always desecrated the dead, not out of desperation, not out of ignorance, but out of a deliberate, institutional, almost theological commitment to violate the sacred. They didn't just kill, they dug up. They didn't just colonize the land, they colonized graves. They didn't just erase memory, they harvested bones like trophies, shipped them across oceans, labeled them, measured skulls, mounted them behind glass, called it science. European museums are mausoleums of theft, cathedrals of rot built on stolen femurs. Their universities house the remains of people they murdered, and then wrote dissertations about objectivity while cataloging the shape of a Maasai warrior's ribcage. They cry about Notre Dame's fire, but have entire tombs of African kings in basement drawers, mummies in gift shops, sacred remains turned to party tricks. They exhumed ancestors to prove supremacy, displayed skeletons to mock civilizations older than their gods, carved up tombs in Egypt, looted entire necropolises in Peru, ground up bones in Kemet, and sold it as mummy powder for medicine and makeup. Yes, makeup. They wore the pulverized flesh of sacred dead on their powdered faces and called it elegance. They turned burial grounds into botanical gardens, sacred groves into golf courses, slave cemeteries into parking lots. Desecration wasn't a side effect. It was policy. They bulldozed the dead to build statues of their killers, tore up native graves to lay pipeline, and if they couldn't steal the bones, they renamed the ancestors, called them Neanderthals, Homo erectus, specimens, reduced whole genealogies to fossils, and claimed them as European property. Where others built shrines, they built cabinets. Where others offered prayers, they offered scalp bounties. This is not a metaphor. It's a history of grave robbing, dressed up as enlightenment. And they're still doing it. Right now, there are hundreds of thousands of Asian, African, and indigenous bodies rotting in European museums. Bodies that have asked louder than the living to be returned, but are kept hostage under bureaucratic bullshit like archival preservation and ongoing study. Because Europeans never understood that to desecrate the dead is to sever the connection between the living and the past. And that's exactly why they do it. Because people with no ancestors are easier to conquer, easier to convert, easier to replace. But you can't kill what remembers, and we remember everything. Cope.